Welcome to the Double Doinkus Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts Willie J and Nick Meyer. This week we bring you the Week 3 preview and the Week 2 recap of the 2025 NFL season. And what a week it was. It has been just kind of I think I say this at the beginning of every single year. It's been a weird scoring week to start off the season.
And especially compared to last week, when you look at it, there were some things that were consistent, and then some things that we thought were, looking good, and then they just didn't look good. Like my case, one of my gut check starts, Zach Charbonnet had one of the worst carrying to yards stat lines I've seen. It was like 10 carries for 12 yards or something. Like, just he was still getting the more opportunities than Kenneth Walker, but he was just not delivering at all.
And this is something that I think, and Zach Charbonnet not in particular, but like every single year I see this, I see that the defenses start off a lot stronger than the offenses, where the offenses take a little bit of time to meld. And I can't say that's like every single year, but it was the same thing last year, right? Everyone was like, oh no, passing offenses stink. They can't pass anymore. So all the receivers and the QBs are going to be terrible. And that's right now, it seems like they've gotten really good at run defense. How many teams across the league am I looking at? I'm like, wow, they can stop the run. Wow, they're good against the run. And it's every team,
especially compared to last year. Like, I think the Raiders are a great example of that, where their run defense is looking really improved. I think that it's weird how the pendulum swings too, because I mean, yeah, like you said, like the last offseason, it was like, okay, running backs are back in style. Let's run the ball in defense. Like, this is what it, and then the league's like, all right, the defenses pick up on that quick, and then boom, it's like, all right, now we got our run defense to, to work on, like to focus on. I feel like as a whole, defense is just a lot better in the NFL than it has ever been. And I think that I've also seen that in some college football as well, where there's a lot of quarterbacks struggling in college football. There's no clear Heisman favorite. And college defenses are just getting better and better. I don't know. It's a trend in all of football right now.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me. I had heard there's like a dearth of offensive line talent, essentially, right? And I think that might be part of what you're seeing play out here, because I know a lot of the teams I'm watching that are having issues running the ball or just in offense in general. The common thread is that their offensive line is just not holding up well enough to protect the QB or the running back. I'm a fan of the Raiders, and I can tell you for sure that watching Ashton Genty get hit by two players behind the line every single play, where this guy's breaking 2 tackles to get 3 yards, it's frustrating because he looks great and he's not doing great.
My theory is that I think that less and less people are wanting to play offensive line because it doesn't pay as well as other positions, and it's one of the positions where you can get hurt the easiest and like have really detrimental like foot, toe, leg, knee injuries. Like, it's one of the most you're defending the quarterback and the running back. So it's one of the most aggressive positions getting towards you. And I think you're very susceptible to injuries. Usually you're like a bigger dude. So there's a whole lot of factors that go into being a great offensive lineman. And with the pay in the NFL, it's not as exciting right now. But with the NFL adding the Protector of the Year award at the next NFL award ceremony, I think maybe we're going to see a trend like we see with other positions where offensive linemen, they're going to start getting paid a lot of money. And that's going to be like kind of like where we saw with receiver. That's my thought.
Yeah, it's going to have to be something like that, because otherwise the NFL is going to just have an issue in general with too many defenders being paid way too well. All these defensive linemen are going to be so good because there's so much defensive line talent in the NFL.
Yeah. Yep.
But past that, things will, I think, eventually even out. Like, we're going to react a little bit to the things that happen in 2 weeks, because with fantasy football, you can't afford to not react. But also, you don't want to overreact. Before we get into any of these other segments, because we're going to do a few different segments about this, let's go into the news, because there's a lot of really important news that happened. I'm just going to hit on a bunch of injuries, because that's what we really care about, is who got injured and who can step up afterwards. So Austin Eckler on the Thursday night game, the Commanders and the Packers, he tore his Achilles, which is just it's an absolute shame.
It's brutal. I mean, any running back tearing their Achilles, but especially one that's older. If you're not Adrian Peterson, it's just especially if Eckler, he's already had injuries and leg injuries. It just sucks. Like, he had an incredible career. He's a walk-on, I think, at Colorado, and then went undrafted. Like,
showed up at the Chargers facility. Just
Yeah.
he's one of the few players that like really enjoyed fantasy football and talked about it openly, which was really nice because most players hate it, and understandably so when people are jerks to him. But
But
uh,
he was going on podcasts, and yeah, he was actually. I mean, he was
mhm.
also the number one fantasy player, so that probably helped. But
He's one of those players. He played for the Chargers, so that was a division rival of mine, and I still couldn't help but like the dude. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, the Chargers keep doing that over and over again because they have Herbert now. But either way, awesome guy. Unfortunate injury. So that means I don't think you're gonna really see a ton of new value open up for the Commanders. You have Bill Krosky Merritt, and I think he's gonna be the easy recipient of all the carries that Austin Eckler left by. I mean, you have Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols, and there is a chance that McNichols ends up as a receiving back.
I don't think that either are like worth picking up, but I think McNichols will steal more receiving work than we expect.
Mm-hmm.
I could also maybe see them signing somebody. I think that Bill is his value where he went at this point. If people are reaching for him, I think his value is met there for sure. But I think his ceiling is still a little capped. But we'll see. And it might be kind of hard because another player that's out this week or expected to be out is Jaden Daniels, and it's going to be hard to kind of get a gauge of what the run game and for the Commanders look like if their quarterback's out. So it could be kind of weird.
And this is a game against the Raiders where we just saw them pretty much bottle up Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris. I mean, they got passed on like crazy. So this is a game where it stinks that Jaden Daniels is out because this might be the game where Jaden Daniels could go nuclear and you could feel really good because they'll need him to do it. I
Yeah,
guess.
and it could be close enough that there's going to be some like back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
high passing volume and running too. But we'll see. I don't think Mariota is going to run much.
Mariota does have the revenge game narrative going because he played for the Raiders
Oh,
for a couple seasons.
that's true.
So there's something there. Okay, let's talk about Joe Burrow. Because unfortunately Joe Burrow has a turf toe that needs an injury, needs a surgery. Even it doesn't need another injury, trust me. Which is for the Bengals offense as a whole pretty impactful. And I don't think I'm saying anything crazy there. Because now you got Jake Browning starting, and I don't know. I've heard conflicting things, like he might be back in 6 weeks versus the surgery is really intense, so it might not just. They're just saying that to keep him keep the fans happy.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it really will depend on how Jake Browning and the team as a whole plays. If they're
Mm-hmm.
looking on the fringe of playoff contention and Burrow is back and healthy, like of course he's going to play. But if he's not recovering as well from the surgery and they're like looking like I don't know, like a 6-8 team when he comes back, it's not going to be the same.
So I think the Bengals are a team worth talking about for a second because you got to kind of look at what you got going forward. So you've got Chase Brown, you've got Jamar Chase, you've got T Higgins, and that's the pieces that you're looking at how they're affected.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase blew up afterwards, of course, because he got every single target. Um,
he had like 16 targets. Yeah,
yeah, it was wonderful if you own Jamar Chase, and they beat the Jaguars for what it's worth.
in a close game, in a very close game.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know that it's like full on doomsday for them. I think it's like adjust your expectations because we were hoping that you'd get Burrow at an MVP level, which means that your receivers would definitely benefit. Without MVP level Burrow, it's not necessarily that they've lost value, but they have lost a little bit of value, I should say, but not necessarily all of it.
A little bit of ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm high enough on Jake Browning that I don't think it's going to impact. I mean, Jake Browning's been here for 5 years. He showed that I think he went like 3-3 in the games that Burrow missed with the wrist injury, or maybe more than that. I don't think he's like the best quarterback in the league or anything, but I mean, like we saw, like the end of the last game, like Chase and Higgins were really not affected at all by Burrow's loss. I would say that maybe Chase Brown takes a hit, but I also think that Chase Brown is going to be better than what he's been the past 2 weeks. So he's his overall like ceiling for the season it takes a hit, but compared to what we've seen so far, I think he's going to get better. So it's a little confusing, but I don't know. I mean, he's not Joe Burrow, but he's been there almost as long as Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I'm most worried about I think T Higgins, and then Chase Brown is an interesting one because I don't know, I didn't see it at all Jake Browning doing any check downs, and I do think that hurts Chase
Yeah,
Brown's like again his ceiling. It's not that his floor could be lower than it has been because last week was pretty terrible,
yeah.
but I think if he's not catching a lot of passes, and this could be just the game plan, who knows? When the quarterback goes out and a new one comes in, it's hard to take away a lot from that particular game because they're stepping into a game plan that's made for the other quarterback.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
But like I hope as someone who owns Chase Brown in very important places for me, I hope that he catches some passes at some point.
It's just something. I could also see like the lack of checkdowns because it really you do get a lot of fantasy points from Chase Brown with the checkdowns. I want to
Mhm.
look up. I think Jake Browning. Okay, what is this? He California National High School football records for career passing yards, and he's the most passing yards and touchdowns of all time in high school.
Okay, well, that's
Or
entertaining.
at least for like senior year season. There's something he just has something insane in high school. Like I think he has every single California high school record at the very least. Like
He, he didn't look bad. I mean, he didn't look great. He made some kind of silly decisions, but also he was just zeroed in on Jamar Chase. That
yeah,
in general, that's probably not a silly decision. That's probably a pretty wise decision if you have Jamar Chase on your team. But for better or worse, he's gonna just chuck it at him.
yeah. I mean he threw 3 interceptions and it didn't phase him. He
Yeah.
still came back under pressure and won the game.
There's that like slight maybe this could be a Jameis situation. And this is a Jameis situation. You're happy.
That's where my mind goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
James Winston on the Bengals. I mean that would that would be awesome for Jamar Chase.
That would break something. I mean, you saw what he did with the Browns receiver. Shoot. Um, Justin Fields has a concussion and he is in protocol. And my understanding is if he doesn't practice Thursday or Friday, he's not going to play.
Mhm.
According to the coach, I would assume that they won't let him play because of concussion protocol. But I don't.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's unlikely. I feel like it's unlikely he plays because he took a pretty brutal hit, and it's generally like you miss a game more or less. It seems like if it's yeah.
yeah, they don't love you coming right back out afterwards anymore unless you're. Never mind, it's not worth it. But so the Jets go against the Buccaneers this upcoming week. That could have potentially been a pretty fun game, but we did just see Justin Fields and the Jets as a whole just fall apart immediately.
And it's so weird because I mean the Ravens are a far better team, but we saw the Ravens just run and pass so many yards against the Bills just a few days before, and then
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields and this offense comes out and just totally like looks incompetent against this run defense.
Which is crazy because I
Yeah,
would love
like
to
what?
say that the Bills were like mad or something, but they won that game, so they didn't have
Yeah,
that extra like
no,
fire. But it's the New York versus New York, maybe I don't know.
maybe yeah, I don't know. The
They
Bills
came
didn't.
out, they were mean.
I mean, they didn't even look particularly that much better. It was just the Jets were just. I don't know what it was. It was weird game. Weird game.
And we did see like the quarterbacks from week one. Some of them like fell down to earth. I'm going to talk about just Gino just real quick because also he had the same version of like, yeah, he looked great in week one and week two he came out and he just looked so bad.
He looked angry. I saw a picture of him on the sideline and like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he just looks like angry, just frustrated at himself. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, who knows? Those 7 p.m. start games, who knows what they were doing that whole day. I always think about that. I'm like, you throw these guys and you're like, hey, your whole entire day, get ready for this football game and it'll be at the very end. And these guys are just sitting there. They're not sitting there. They're doing things.
Yeah. Do you like sleep in? Like, what do you what do you do?
So, it's hard for me to look at it. Brock Purdy is still out. Will still be out for a while. It sounds like maybe there's a chance he plays in week 3, but I think that's just being like cheeky.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I think that they always have to come out and say like there's a possibility if a player's not on IR. Like they don't
Mhm.
have to, but it seems like that's a pattern. If a player isn't placed on IR, but they're still expected to miss 3 or 4 weeks, they're gonna be like, oh, they could play this week.
Mac Jones won the game last week for them. And Mac Jones looked okay. I
Yeah.
won't say he looked great, but he didn't look bad either.
He looks serviceable. I mean,
Mhm.
and I think Spencer Rattler looked better than Mac Jones, but not by much.
That's fair. And I will say that Spencer Rattler does look a lot better than I should give him credit for. He just does, and he's making Jawan Johnson a real thing finally. That could be the Kellen Moore offense clicking in,
Mhm.
because Kellen Moore he's just had pretty good offenses.
Yeah, everywhere
Uh,
he's gone.
mhm. I mean, you saw the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year with Kellen Moore offense, and then this year they came out and they don't know how to pass a ball.
Yeah, that is
Uh,
significant.
it's sorry that whole thing is pretty funny. The Eagles I'm gonna just throw them in here real quick because the Eagles don't know how to pass the ball. They just don't
It's
know.
we were both pretty high on the idea that the Eagles were going to be passing more this year to kind of, take the brakes, pump the brakes on Barkley being run into the ground, and just to diversify their offense, and also having seen it work so well in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
But
It hasn't shown up at all.
no,
It is still early, but the hard part for me is it doesn't look like anyone's really getting open, which is crazy when you've got AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. Like someone should be getting open out of those two.
yeah,
So it worries me a little bit, but I think they'll figure it out. Nick Sirianni is too good of a head coach to let him just keep coming out here not understanding how to pass, and they can't run Barkley 30 times a game.
no, and they can afford to be patient because they're 2-0 and their defense
Yeah.
isn't.
Their team is so good it doesn't even matter that they suck at a whole aspect of the game.
Yeah.
It's awesome for them. Aaron Jones, hamstring, IR.
Jordan Mason
Unfortunately.
is looking good. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
watched that whole entire Week 1 game versus the Bears, and you could just see the spark in the second half, because Jordan Mason was getting more carries and he looked a lot more explosive than Aaron Jones. And it wasn't just that Jones was bad. I think the run game, the offensive line took a while to click for the Vikings, but it was still pretty clear that Jordan Mason was the better back. And I mean, maybe he still has competition from Ty Chandler, but I think it's his backfield at this point.
Yeah, so I think Ty Chandler's on the Bills now, and he's hurt.
Oh, okay.
They signed Cam Akers again.
No, great.
The Jordan Mason, unfortunately, he had a pretty bad game against the Falcons. This is one of those examples of like all of a sudden every team is looking good against the run. The Falcons D line looked amazing.
It did. They're rookies. They're two
Mhm.
rookies both caught interceptions, I believe.
Yeah, and they were stifling. The Vikings had nowhere to go. So like JJ McCarthy didn't play great, but who knows whose fault that was? Was it his fault or was it the Falcons coming out and actually having a decent defense with Raheem Morris there? I assume that's what they want.
Yeah, and they invested really heavily this offseason.
Mhm.
I think. I mean, again, it's week 2. I think I could see the Falcons making the playoffs pretty easy. They look like one of the top 8 teams in the NFC, in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah, the NFC is in a
Or the
interesting
NFC,
place
yeah.
right now. But he only. This is my one issue with Jordan Mason is that if the offense doesn't figure out how to get into the red zone frequently, he's gonna have a hard time scoring his points because like he's not getting a lot of dump offs. He is getting some, which is great, but not a lot. Go on.
Oh, I was going to say, and I mean, I think it's the value of the pick, not that he's going to be great. I would compare him more to like a less exciting Tony Pollard in the sense that he's just going to get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, that's fair. JJ McCarthy, I should mention, also very important. That JJ McCarthy is out on this offense. He has an ankle injury, and it sounds like it's 2 to 5 weeks. I'd just err on the probably 3 to 4, more likely.
I'm going to come out and call it right now. Carson Wentz is going to look amazing in this offense, at least week 3.
I wouldn't be that shocked. I do think that JJ McCarthy's this is his rookie year. I mean, we can say all we want about him being there last year, and sure he might know things, but this is his first time getting NFL play. Carson Wentz, however, has had NFL play on a myriad of teams, and he hasn't always been good, but it does usually start good for Carson. It just ends very poorly.
I think that, I mean, just Kevin O'Connell, like you gave another example of Daniel Jones, and like he was in Daniel Jones was in his system for a couple months, didn't play, and he looks electric. Like we saw Sam Darnold, we see what he did with Kirk Cousins. Also, Carson Wentz is back home. He's like from North Dakota, so maybe there's like something there. I don't know. I think that there's always that week, that backup quarterback. Usually, there's that week 1 starting bump where they look way better than you would expect. And I could just see Wentz doing it well enough in the system, at least as well as JJ McCarthy did, and that's a very low bar.
Yeah, and they get to go against the Bengals too this upcoming week, which is pretty nice. That should be pretty good for his confidence at the very least. I think that they're in England, if I'm not wrong. Maybe it's the next week that they're in England. It is the next week. They're going against the Steelers in week 4, not week 3.
Okay.
So he'll get to play with them before he has to go to England. That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm not overly concerned just because JJ McCarthy didn't look particularly good. So it's not like you're missing out on like, wow, this guy is really driving the offense. It seemed like he was learning the offense still. Stinks for JJ McCarthy. But I think
NFC Player of the Week. What the? What the heck?
Dude, come on. I know, right? It's just ridiculous. Last injury I have to talk about here is Jaden Reed on the Packers. He had surgery on his toe and on his shoulder, or no, not excuse me, not shoulder, collarbone.
Mm,
Collarbone.
mhm.
I don't expect that he can make it back after having both those surgeries this year. I would be amazed. I have been amazed in the past, but I would be amazed here.
Yeah, it seems like they don't. It's hard because he probably wants to really play hard and have a career year because he's up for that paycheck and he's in competition with his fellow players. I It's really just it's weird that Matthew Golden hasn't seemed like the guy yet. He's been open. He hasn't gotten targets. I don't know what's going on there. Having said all that, I think Tucker Kraft is legit. I don't think
Yeah,
last week
Tucker
is
Kraft looks great.
yeah.
I do want to just mention Matthew Golden. There's a stat going around that he leads the league in the average separation score, and we have to talk about the acronym for average separation score because no one's changing and no one is stating anything about this. But you can't have a major stat that has the acronym ASS. You
No,
just can't.
no.
We
he
have
leads
to figure out something. He's
he leads
leads the
the
league in
league
ASS, dude.
ASS yards. Oh no.
The memes write themselves. It's too much. You have to change it. Okay, let's run into the week 2 recap, and I think we've talked about a lot of it already, so we can kind of speed through this one.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna just pop off a few of the games I don't think we mentioned. So the Giants Cowboys, crazy game that was phenomenal to watch. I think what you can get out of that game, personally for me, just immediately, is that both of those defenses are bad. The Giants defense, I wish they were good, but they don't seem to be good.
At least their pass defense is pretty awful. But
Hmm
actually, I got nothing there. It's just it's just bad. Yeah.
They are division rivals, and that game was pretty nuts because it looked like the Cowboys had it, and the Giants just Russell Wilson their way into a tie.
It was awful for me. I was going up against a guy Max in my league who has like 5 Cowboys in his team for some weird reason.
And of course, it works out now.
He just kept getting points. It was like because he's got Dak, George Pickens, and Javonte Williams. So it was like every single time they had the ball, it's like I was
That game would have ended in a tie if they didn't make like a 60-yard field goal at the end. Even
yeah,
like they could not win. These teams could not figure out how to beat each other. Um,
yeah,
but it was good for fantasy. Otherwise, I was in the match. I had Malik Neighbors, and my opponent had Amon-Ra, so that was a lot of fun because Amon-Ra was, of course, just popping off the
yeah.
top of his
That
head,
was,
And I'm watching that. I'm like, oh no, there's no way I can come back from this. And then Malik Neighbors in the fourth quarter just goes thermonuclear, also jumping for like 15
uh,
to 37 points in my league.
it was a great ball, but like also, how does he just catch that? Like he was just in the right place, right time. His hands were perfect. He's so good at tracking the ball and just
It's just like
yeah,
a feeling for him, and like his quotes, he always sounds so like laissez-faire, he's like, oh, I just trust my body to be ready. I don't even need to practice. And then he comes out here and does that, and I'm like, I guess you're right. I don't, what else do you say?
yeah,
um the Seahawks and the Steelers defense really stinks.
yeah. It's because of age and some. I don't want to be ageist, but like, no offense to Nick here in his 30s, but if your 4 best defensive players or 4 of your best are in like 32 plus, like that's just problematic.
And I
Darius
think
Slay, Jalen Ramsey, yeah.
we talked about this a lot in the offseason, at least. I when TJ Watt was out, the Steelers defense was really god awful.
hmm
And right now it's looking like it doesn't matter if TJ Watt's in.
He can't only carry. It's not even that he's been awful; it's just that he can't carry this team
Mm-hmm,
that much.
mm-hmm. That's exactly it. Rams Titans. So go hit me with your Rams take.
Oh, okay. So I mean, if you've been listening to the show, I've had some pretty disappointing takes so far. Mostly for me because I listened to my own advice and drafted some players. But one of my takes I'm most proud of because I called it not just that it would happen, but how it would happen is Devontae Adams and him getting just so many red zone targets per game.
So many red zone
So
targets.
many. And even when they weren't, even when he wasn't catching them and it was a detriment to the team, they were still targeting him. And then
Mm-hmm,
he
mm-hmm.
delivered on a great catch. He doesn't have the Cooper Cup role in the sense that he plays like Cooper Cup, but he has that role where he is the red zone guy, and him and Puka can absolutely both coexist as long as Matt Stafford is in. And Stafford's healthy. Adams is, I think he's going to be a top 12 receiver. I think Puka is going to be easily a top 12 receiver. Um, and again, the Titans defense isn't like great or anything, but we saw it last week. He didn't score week 1, but he was still getting so many red zone targets.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Puka is just Yeah.
It's clear that they had watched the Aaron Rodgers Devontae Adams connection. At least McVay had, and he's like, okay, so every time they were in the red zone, Aaron Rodgers tossed it to Devontae Adams, and it was successful very often. And he's
Yeah.
like, Matt, just toss it to Devontae over and over and over again. You'll get touchdowns, trust me. And it it looked like they wouldn't sometimes because they throw it to him 3 times in a row and you miss it every single time. But then that fourth time, there you go.
Yeah.
But the important part is he is getting those targets. He will
Yes.
not stop getting those targets. You are going to like having him on your team. I don't think there's any way. Top 12, I love that prediction. I'm more like 15, 18 range. But I'm being conservative, so
I
that's
mean,
not really.
and he was drafted like lower than that too.
Mm-hmm. So
So
I don't have an issue. He's going to be a player you're going to like having on your team.
yeah.
We talked about Bills Jets a little bit. Let's say Patriots Dolphins. I have to bring this up because I said Travion Henderson was one of my starts of the week, my nuclear boy, and apparently you can't be a start of the week if you get 3 holding penalties because then you're not playing the game.
No.
I do apologize for anyone who listened to that. I really thought it was a good setup for him. And the pass that Ramondre caught on the sideline was a play drawn up for Travion Henderson, but he didn't get to do it because he didn't get to play. So that's my big takeaway is Travion Henderson is going to need some time.
I think we underestimated just how talented, maybe not on paper compared to Travion Henderson, but I mean, Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson are both really good pass catching backs. So the idea that, Henderson would just come in as a rookie and immediately take that role, I think was a little bit we're too bullish on that because Ramondre, he's not cooked. Like he's not great, but
no, he did look good in this game.
He looked good, yeah. And if you have a rookie going through growing pains, like we've seen pretty much every rookie so far, that's a running back, you're going to lean on your other players. Now, I mean, Genty's maybe an exception. They played a little bit of Zamir White or the other guy. I forget his name, but
it was Lauby and Zamir White. They played both of them.
Yeah.
And it was pass blocking for them too. So this pass blocking thing, and we've heard this like year over year how important pass blocking is. It turns out that didn't just magically go away.
Hampton was really good at pass blocking. Marion Hampton.
Yeah, but you mean in college or in this game?
Oh, in this game.
Yeah, because I think this is what's the shocking part is that the players who were good in college at pass blocking are just not right now showing it. But it is week 2.
It is week 2, yeah.
It's far too early, I think, to write them off. But it is, however, hard because if you went heavy on the rookies, you're in a bad place right now.
Yeah, you are. And I mean, it's the case across the board. I mean, I would almost say the same for receivers, but then we look at Emeka Ibuka, and that's not the case. And then like last year with rookie receivers, if you drafted a rookie receiver, you were golden.
And not Matthew, you were even better than that.
No.
Let's we talked about Jaguars Bengals a little bit, but I do want to just talk about the Jaguars side of the ball first because as soon as they shifted Travis Hunter over to defense, he stopped playing offense basically. He did look like he got hurt on defense, and I think that might be part of it. Is he hurt his lower leg? He came back in the game as a cornerback, but I didn't see him come back in the game like more than 1 or 2 snaps on offense. And then Brian Thomas Jr. you have to mention.
I don't know what's going on. I think maybe he's injured.
Yeah, so the head coach Liam Cohen said that he had a wrist injury in that game, and he had it the whole week prior, which is against the NFL rules. That's fine, whatever. He told on himself essentially.
Yeah,
terrible move, Liam. But it's hard for me to take away too much because there does look to be a little bit of growing pains for that team because you even saw Trevor Lawrence yell at Liam Cohen at one point.
Yeah, that was awkward.
And Trevor Lawrence, he had a good game. He didn't have a great game.
It was adequate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Jaguars are a team where I think we should lower their expectations a little bit on all the players, just a little bit.
I will say though, I had Travis Etienne as one of my nuclear boys, and he didn't exactly go nuclear, but he put up almost 17 points in the week before. He put up 18. So we're seeing the volume there, especially with Bigsby gone, and he's consistent. Even in the weeks he's not going nuclear, I think he's really returned his value and proven his value. And I don't see his role diminishing. I can see Bashal Tootin growing and, gradually diminishing his role, but it's not going to be a fall off kind of thing. It's not going to, basically what I'm saying is like, if you drafted ETN where you did, he's returned value and it's going to be the same.
And Tootin does look good, but yeah, it's hard to say that that's a one game thing when the receivers are both just one's kind of out and the other one is just blowing his opportunities.
Yeah.
Anything specific you want to say about 49ers Saints? I don't have a lot for that.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so Browns Ravens. The Ravens managed to still score 41 on a game where Derrick Henry just really had no involvement.
I, yeah, I wouldn't panic, but that was weird.
Apparently, he's played the Browns a lot in his career, and he's always done terrible against them, almost no matter what. So this is a team that just seems to know how to stop Derrick Henry. And he fumbled early, and
Mm.
as crazy as it sounds, he kind of seemed like he went into the doghouse for a while for that fumble because he was out for multiple drives after that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he got in his head, and maybe John Harbaugh knows what happens when he fumbles and how he gets in his head. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
it could be something mental there for sure. Again, when he did run, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like bad. It wasn't like
Right.
he was hurt or anything. So
Yeah. And then I do want to mention Quinshon Judkins because I thought for a guy who practiced like 1 or 2 times with the team ever coming in and then actually having a pretty competent game against a pretty good defense. I guess that remains to be seen. We don't know how good the Ravens defense is. They looked very bad one week and then okay and pretty good the next week, right? So
against the bad offense,
yeah, but Quinshon Judkins came in. He had a majority of the carries. He looked good. He actually had like a lot of he's really good at reading the defense. It seems like he slows down and reads the defense kind of almost this is way too early to say, but like Le'Veon Bell, where it's like he's not really fast off that first step. He looks kind of slow, but then he kind of just picks the right lane every single time.
he knows where he's going. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm personally particularly excited. However, Browns play the Packers this week, and I will guarantee you do not want to start a Browns player.
No, I was going to say, well, with Quinshon, I was high on Dylan Sampson, but then when I learned Quinshon was in, even though I didn't expect his role to be like this, I was out on Dylan Sampson, at least starting him just because of that committee approach. With the Packers, yeah, I this week especially, but like, and I'm excited about the potential for Quinshon, but I really think I'm out on it. All the Browns offense, like I don't trust Cedric Tillman to not be boomer bust. I don't know how he's going to look if Joe Flacco's benched. I'm really out on Jerry Jeudy. Harold Fannin looks great for a rookie, and I'm not going to discount that at all, but he's still a rookie, and he's going to have some disappearing games. I'm out on Njoku. I'm not out on Samson completely because there's still that rookie upside, but I mean apart from that, like there's no Browns player I want to start at all.
Specifically not week 13 for me. After that, I'm interested in a few. It'll just depend. I think that Quinshon, just because of the way RBs are and how you're going to need to start RBs, and like as we go on down the line, they get rarer and rarer. I think Quinshon's going to be a pretty good pickup.
Yeah.
And he just looks super skilled. Like he could be the dude who kind of turns this offense around a little bit because they need a motor, and it can't just be Joe Flacco who's a million years old.
No. The only thing with Quinshon though is that he was still drafted pretty high, and I just don't see him outplaying that. I mean, I could be wrong. I just don't see him outplaying that. When we saw Dylan Sampson week 1 also look great, and if their offense is kind of trash, why would you run one player into the ground? But we'll see.
Yeah, and then I just again I think about that like Browns offense that has the 2 RBs and they're both clicking, and that when that works, it works for everybody. But it remains to be seen. I really have a lot of faith in this Browns team as a whole.
No.
Bears Lions. We can rush through this one real quick.
Well,
give me your Rome.
We're going to talk about Rome in a second here, but yeah.
It's okay. So the Lions basically, this was a very emotionally charged game for the Lions, and you could tell from the get go because Ben Johnson returns. They immediately, I think they wanted to be like, "Hey, we can do this without you," and they just have the better created team at this point. Still, like it didn't all just go away, and they were mad about losing to the Packers the way they did. And I think this game showed me 2 things. One, the Bears defense isn't that good.
No, and we saw week 1 that it looked good, but that was against JJ McCarthy. So
yeah, and it was also in the game where they had all those Hall of Fame defensive players getting awards right before.
Yeah.
I think it matters a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. And then the Lions are okay. They're not just bad now. And third, a team unrelated really, the Packers defense is definitely legit if they were able to stop that Lions offense because that Lions offense really just was great.
It's the Packers defense looks incredible with or without Mike. I mean, obviously Parsons makes a big difference, but it looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I will say that, and I this was my fear coming into the year, and it was kind of put to rest with the hire of Dennis Allen for the Bears defense. At least a competent coordinator we've seen. I think the Bears defense is bottom 5 at the very least in terms of talent. Like again, it's week 2, it's early, but Montez Sweat and Deo are the top 2 pass rushers. Like Montez Sweat was number 2 in Washington for a couple of years. Like he's never been an elite player. The D line has Gervon Dexter, who's great. I think possible Pro Bowl. The rest of the D line, the linebackers are solid, but there's nobody that stands out. Jalen Johnson, if he's going to be out for the year, he's by far their best defensive player. I think that the Bears defense, there's no talent, and they should have gone. I don't know why they drafted Colston Loveland. They're not even getting him involved. Again, I get he's a great talent. Cole Kmet is decent. You don't need an elite tight end. I mean, look at Tucker Kraft and the Packers. Why did you draft Colston Loveland? And then you draft Louver Burden in round 2. Why did you do that? Why? We needed an edge. We needed a D lineman. Could use an extra O lineman before Ozzie. Oh my! I'm just like
I get it. Because you're a fan of all these teams that make these questionable decisions. I do get the fact that if you draft someone at like pick 10 and they don't show up at all,
What?
it's so frustrating because it's just, why would you do this? I had that like to a much lesser extent when the Raiders took out Genty for failure for pass blocking. It's like, it really doesn't matter, man. He learns on the job. He's pick 6. Keep him in here. You don't want Zamir White back out here. Get him out.
Why? It's a close game, a competitive game. Exactly.
Just, it's like, I get it. These coaches are like trying to do something, but they need to stop.
Yeah.
That's my professional opinion right now. Let's move on to the Broncos Colts. We'll just rush through this one. So I need to say, wow, that stunk if you were a Cortland Sutton owner. That stunk for me because I own Cortland Sutton in a lot of places. I love Cortland. I'm not out on his talent. I don't think Troy Franklin has just suddenly usurped the number 1 role. It was a game I think that the Broncos had a game plan for, and they failed at it a little bit. The defense kind of let them down.
I would push on that, push back on that, maybe just a little bit, because even though Cortland, it was a weird game in the sense that Cortland still had like a decent amount of targets. I think he still had 4 or 5 targets, and he wasn't getting open. The connection was off, and it speaks so much less to do with his connection with Knicks and just like the Colts defense, perhaps, or just like the game plan. And talk all you want about Daniel Jones. The thing that surprises me about the Colts is just how good their defense is. Similar to the Bears, I was like, there's not much talent here, and the coordinator was the coordinator for the Bengals last year. Like, I'm not why this is going to be a bad awful team, but nope.
Somehow it's working out right now.
Yeah,
I think that the connection with Bo Nix was definitely off, and I'm sure Sean Payton saw that pretty quick too, because then it seemed like he pivoted really hard to these drawn up plays for Troy, and Troy Franklin didn't deliver. So as far as players we're talking about, Troy Franklin is someone that I think you should get on your team. I don't think he usurped the wide receiver 1 role. So I'm saying get him on your team because he's going to have some good weeks. He can be a good plug and play sort of player, but he doesn't strike me as more than like a flex.
Well, yeah, that's totally fair. I think you could, if you still have Marvin Mims or some other player, Troy Franklin looks like the number 2 here. And also like Troy Franklin has gotten more balls thrown at him by Bo Nix than any other player on his team because they played for 2 years at Oregon. So there's already that established connection. That's why they drafted him, I think.
That makes a lot of sense in the world to me. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that I wouldn't, blow $48 of fab on Troy Franklin, but I think that, like you said, I think he's in a good game script. He could be a good flex.
Mm-hmm. So the Colts, I'm in on Daniel Jones. I love it. Just anything that's going to give me this storyline is phenomenal. I mean, if Daniel Jones can come out here and have this sort of season, then the Giants are going to look like such fools, and that's great.
The Broncos defense didn't completely fall off. They haven't looked as good, but they're still legit. And Daniel Jones, he just wins with his legs, with his arm. He's so precise with his throws. I don't know. Yeah, I think that he looks great, and I don't think it's a fluke. I really don't. And even if maybe he starts to struggle, I don't think it's a fantasy fluke because we see he still can run.
So. Yeah. And the screen game with Jonathan Taylor is going to work all season.
Yeah.
I do have a question here that's relevant at this moment. So I'm going to throw this question up. So Arjun asks, hey guys, quick question. I got offered a trade, DJ Moore and Pacheco for Sutton. I get Sutton. So giving up DJ Moore and giving up Pacheco, getting Sutton.
Hmm.
His receivers are Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Travis Hunter, and DJ. Uh, his RBs are Chase Brown, Bill, Tracy, Sampson, and Pacheco. You answer first, actually.
I don't know. This is a tough one. I think Pacheco. I think we've seen maybe Pacheco's floor. Well, I'm going to talk about him later. Um, it's really hard to say. I think that DJ Moore is just really not a big part of his Bears offense. It really seems like. I mean, they're scheming plays for him, and he might get better. I don't know. This is hard. I think I would probably lean Pacheco, DJ Moore, just because you're getting 2 for 1, and your running backs aren't fantastic. So I think having the potential upside of Pacheco, it makes it worth it. But it's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's giving up DJ and Pacheco, and in that case, here's what I like about this. I think that Pacheco is better than I'm going to give him credit for right now. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
going to say that off the top of the cusp, but I like clearing out roster spots and upgrading at positions. So I like the idea of getting Cortland Sutton and then going and trying to find a handcuff RB that you think you can get some value out of soon,
Okay, that's fair.
because it's not necessarily that you'll upgrade your RB spot, but you can keep it pretty, like keep it pretty even if you manage to hit on one of these guys. And I think better days are ahead for Pacheco. I think it's impossible to say they're not. But I also think better days are ahead for Sutton.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so I'm in on getting Sutton
I
personally.
think
So
I, I agree. I think maybe I do agree. I think what I like your point about upgrading at a specific position because I think Sutton is definitely an upgrade over DJ Moore. And I think that like you said, if you go to your waiver wire and there's some good running backs there that have potential that we've talked about, that you've heard people talk about, and you can drop or you can trade Pacheco for them, I think that's worth it. Yeah,
mhm.
that's what I would look at your waiver wire to get that decision. But yeah,
Yeah, same. So check your waiver wire, then fill it out. If you can get someone, do it. If you can't, don't. Um, we'll move on. Panthers Cardinals.
um,
It was like Bryce Young stunk in the beginning, looked great at the end, which is fine for fantasy. If I'm the Panthers, I'm looking at that and I'm really worried about this dude.
yeah,
Um, Hunter Renfrow caught 2 touchdowns. I was sick.
that's really. I was like, wow,
Comeback player of the year starting now.
got a better chance than we thought.
T Mac looks like amazing.
He
Tedero is
does.
just is awesome. Um, Chuba we'll talk about in a little bit, and then the Cardinals. I called Marvin
Um,
Harrison Jr. as a sit, and I'm happy I did because he didn't get nothing done.
I think he got shadowed by J.C. Horn a lot, but even so, he didn't look like he was targeted much. Um, I I was a little too bullish on Trey Benson this week, and I started him over Roma saying I don't know what I don't know what. See, I don't even know what I talk about when I talk about fantasy. That was a dumb choice. We had a good point that like the Panthers' run defense was so bad that it was maybe worth it, and I think it was. And I think Trey Benson looked good, and he got an opportunity.
Hmm.
He just
It
didn't get
just
his.
wasn't enough.
It
Yeah.
wasn't enough. But I think that this is becoming a clear committee. And I think that I'd much rather be a Trey Benson owner than a James Conner owner because, I mean, we talk about Conner's injuries, but I really think that they're going to really ease Benson into his offense and have it either be a 50-50 or he'll slowly take over because, I mean, he was drafted 3rd round, like in the NFL. Like they want to use him.
Hmm. And they both do look good. That's
Yeah.
the hard part. So if you're on the side of Connor, unfortunately, you're on the side of the old guard. They're
Yeah.
going to work in the young guard. They want Benson to be the guy of the future, so they're going to want him to start taking over. And
Yeah.
he looks good enough to do it.
I would like Benson and like if he becomes legit and it becomes less of a committee, I would love to have him potentially like during the playoffs, fantasy playoffs. I wouldn't really feel the same about Connor per se.
Yep. Eagles Chiefs. Eagles win 20. Chiefs lose 17. I am so happy that the Chiefs are 0-2. I couldn't stop hearing about it on the broadcast, which is wonderful. It's like the first time since Mahomes was in high school or something like that, and like
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah,
I don't have a ton to say about this. The Eagles are a great team. They don't need to pass the ball. They don't know how to pass the ball, and it really just doesn't matter. The
yeah.
Chiefs look like they're all upset at each other. They're all mad, and the lack of receiving talent currently is obvious.
Yeah, and the lack of depth. I did call to sit Hollywood Brown, and he was
Mm-hmm.
did not do well this week. So I'm glad I called that.
And Travis Kelce just keeps looking not good. So
Yeah,
that's
it's just off.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not excited about any of these Chiefs players till either Xavier Worthy or Rashee Rice comes back.
and this is where Rashee Rice comes back and is legit every single week. I'm still super high on him as a player based on what I saw before the suspension.
So I think like my hesitancy in the beginning of the season was that I thought Xavier Worthy was going to take the step up. If Xavier Worthy got hurt, then there's no step up to take.
I mean, if he comes back though, I mean, maybe he'll be limited, but like literally, it was like the very beginning of the game and he was gone, so we have no idea.
Yeah, it's true. I have this theory that Hollywood Brown stepped into his role, and that's why Hollywood Brown got 16 targets or whatever, is because that was the Xavier Worthy role. And then we see this game 2, we see that doesn't happen because it's not that role any longer.
That's a good point. Actually, that is a good point. They did, yeah.
I don't, who knows? You can't ever guarantee those things. But I don't have a lot of takeaways from this game other than that.
No.
We talked Falcons Vikings already. Buccaneers Texans. The Texans look more competent than they have against the Rams, but you're still going to have issues all season with this team.
I'm only starting Nico Collins here. Not starting Nick Chubb, not starting dropping CJ Stroud.
Woody Marks looked okay.
He did, but not enough he did. But I mean, you can keep him on your bench if there's room, but he's not like a must keep player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I mean, just the line is so bad.
The Buccaneers, I'll move over because I don't have a lot of disagreements with that. The Buccaneers, Bucky Irving looked awesome, and he looked like he was running through people, which is just a shock to the system.
Yeah, he's legit.
Baker Mayfield got hurt like 4 different times and kept playing. He does that, so that's wonderful.
He's a great pick so far. He's picking up right where he left off.
Mm-hmm. Mike Evans is currently not on pace for 1,000 yards, which means you can expect bigger games in the future. They are not going to let him miss that. I can almost guarantee it.
I think he hinted in some interview he's planning on retiring after the season too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
they're not going to let him go out without the 1,000-yard season. There's no way.
Don't panic on him.
And Chargers Raiders, I think we talked enough about it. I think both defenses looked pretty good, and Geno just looked shook the whole entire game. Like there was just nothing happening from him there.
I do think that the pass heaviness is definitely not a mirage, but I think they're gonna rely on that early in the season and then psych teams out by switching to the run and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're getting that chemistry in, and I think that this offense as a whole is just awesome. So.
Yeah, you're gonna want parts of that Chargers offense if you can get it, and of course, like if you drafted Ladd in the first 2 rounds, you're a little disappointed. But he's not gonna be a player that I think you have to worry about a ton. He's just not gonna return necessarily the value you got at draft day. Good news, it's not draft day anymore, so
Yeah, I mean that's what we said for different reasons, but that's what we said is that he's not going to return value based on the other players.
We are going to move into our next section. I do have one more question, so I'll go ahead and just pop it up here. John asks, which package trade Tyreek and Diggs or QJ? So Tyreek and Diggs or QJ for Tet and Debo, or trade Tyreek for Tet and Ricky?
Okay, I like that trade a lot. I would go Tyreek and QJ. We haven't seen big games from Diggs yet, but he's having a baby with Cardi B, and he's gonna. I think the Patriots' offense will get better, and also I just see QJ as very boomer bust, and so far we've seen the same with Diggs. I don't know. It's hard to say. I still have faith in Diggs.
Yeah. It's hard because I want to have faith in QJ because he's exciting and he's really cool. But we've also seen him have these blow up games over and over again. I personally, I actually do like Debo a lot this season, but if I'm taking one of these trades, I'm actually taking the 2-for-1. I would trade off Tyreek and get Tet and Ricky because I like Tyreek for T-Mac alone almost, and getting Ricky Pearsall thrown in there. Tyreek had a good game this game. This
Wait, could you fill up the question again? Maybe I missed
I sure can.
Tet and Debo trade. Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or trade just Tyreek for Tet and Ricky. And I like that trade because I don't believe Tyreek is going to keep this up all season. It's going to be off and on with him.
Yeah.
T-Mac will, I think, because there's no one else there. And Ricky also is in the same situation. There's just no one else there. So you're getting 2 obvious wide receiver ones on their team for someone who may or may not show up each week.
Yep, I agree. And I mean, it's to a lesser extent, that's kind of my argument for Diggs over QJ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Diggs he's not. I mean, Kayshon Boutte so far is wide receiver 1, but in terms of targets and I think potential opportunity, Diggs is still number 1, at least compared to QJ.
Yeah, Boutte had a great catch for his touchdown, but like there wasn't much else there.
When is Boutte gonna lead the league in average separation yards?
I hope soon because there's no better player to lead in ASS than Booty. Um, yeah, one more question, then we'll move on to the next part. I got from Michael. He says, "What's up, fellas? Quick question. Pick 2 for this week: Rome, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Jordan Mason."
Okay, let me think. I'm starting Rome this week. What was it? Kenneth Walker, Jordan Mason, and who's the other guy?
And Chase Brown.
Chase Brown. Chase Brown versus Vikings. I'll let you answer this first.
Okay, I think it's Rome. Easy. So that's the easy pick. You lock in Rome right now. And then for me, it's between Chase Brown and Jordan Mason. So it's the same game, playing each other.
I'm leaning towards Jordan Mason here, but it's close.
It is. It's so close that I think it's almost a coin flip. Think about who you think is going to win this game, and I think that's the one you choose. If you think the Bengals win this game, play Chase Brown. If you think the Vikings win this game, play Jordan Mason. I personally would say that I think that the Vikings are going to win this game.
Me too.
So I would play Jordan Mason, which stinks because I own Chase Brown. I don't love that answer. I wish it was Chase Brown easy. It's not right now, unfortunately. Okay, so let's move on to our next thing. We're gonna, since this is the second week of the season, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the top 10 players at each position. Just kind of give you like, is it a mirage or is it real? It shouldn't be super complicated for all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start off with the QB position. So looking at the top 10, I'm going with a list that's on a 6-point passing touchdown, just so everyone understands that. Otherwise, standard scoring. So QB1 right now, Lamar Jackson.
That's legit.
It's legit. Like, what are you going to say? You're not going to go against Lamar Jackson. And Ray, to answer your question, Flowers, for the same reason. Lamar Jackson looks like he's going to have another year. Jared Goff is QB2 currently. And it's at 56.8 points, which is basically tied with Justin Herbert. So you can take either spot.
I think that I think you're going to see the Jared Goff of last year yet again. I would maybe sell high if you can, but he's where you expected him to be.
I think he'll finish like bottom, like 6, 7, 8, that range, because he's going to have off games where the running backs are scoring, and he's going to have games like this where they run up the score to 52.
I think a little bit lower on him than that range. I think more like 10, 11, 12, 9.
Okay,
but still,
it's hard if he has like even one more game like this. I think those scores will buoy him so much. You know what I mean? Like you score 52 with, what is it, 5 touchdowns? You're gonna look good. Justin Herbert then comes in at number 3. Justin Herbert was not ranked like this here, but it's hard to bet against Justin Herbert right now. He looks like the version of Justin Herbert we all imagined he could be, and he's doing it.
He looks like the MVP, like straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe is it ever saying it's hard for quarterbacks. I mean, maybe you can consider selling high because I think they're still going to start running more, but you'd have to get good value to trade him.
Yeah, 100%. With Herbert, I'm not trading him for like anything weak. And I'm also, if I have a quarterback and he was my second quarterback, which pretty wild, but if I did, I would look at selling the better quarterback, or the higher drafted quarterback, I should say.
Or like, yeah, if you had like a Baker and a Justin, if you traded like Baker for like a Tet or something, that would something along those lines. I like.
Quarterback 4, Daniel Jones. Which is a wild card completely, 100%. This is where you get into that like dicey territory. Do you buy into Daniel Jones, or are you thinking that it's a mirage?
I'm buying in just because we can see what he does with his legs, and he's never been a bad fantasy quarterback. He just has had stretches of time where he's been a bad quarterback and it's affected his fantasy value. But he's got weapons, he's got legs. I'm buying.
Yeah, that Colts offensive line is actually looking pretty good too, and I think that, again, that's such a big difference for these quarterbacks. So if the offensive line stays healthy, I have a hard time seeing Daniel Jones just like completely dropping off.
Yeah.
So at quarterback 4, it's spicy, but we do see like random quarterbacks jump into the ranks, and of course, if it's Daniel Jones again, it is too much for the New York Giants to take, and I think that makes the storyline wonderful. So you have to want Daniel Jones to end up as the top 10 quarterback. Josh Allen's quarterback 5.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to say the last time that I think it was the last time Jalen Hurts was QB1, Shane Steichen was his OC. So
yeah, okay, so that makes a lot of sense because Shane Steichen is not the quarterback coach; he's just the head coach.
He's a head coach, yeah.
Josh Allen again, quarterback 5. We don't have to talk about Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to do great. Baker Mayfield is quarterback 6.
I'm buying that.
He looks great too. And
He's
if
only
Emeka is that good, there's no chance he falls off.
no. I mean, with Chris Godwin and McMillan coming back, like it's only gonna get better, I think.
Patrick Mahomes is number 7.
I'm definitely buying this because we've seen him produce with his legs more than he ever has. And even if he does that less so when his top 2 targets come back, like his top 2 targets are gone and he's QB7 right now. I don't know. I think this is the year that Patrick Mahomes is a legitimately good fantasy quarterback.
Well, Patrick Mahomes has the. Am I reading this right? He has the highest rushing yards for any quarterback right now in the league. He has 123 rushing yards, and Lamar's got 83. Josh Allen's got 89.
I think that's legit. Yeah,
That's wild. So I mean, if that production keeps up, there's no chance he drops out.
and I think if he gets a better weapons, I think it will just kind of level out too. So.
Okay, and then Drake May is 8.
Yeah, buy that.
8 feels good. Here's one that I think we might have an easy agreement on the other way. Russell Wilson's number 9. You can't have one good game, Russell, and sneak into the top 10. Get him out of here.
It reminded me of Kirk Cousins, like when he had that 500-yard game against the Bucks, I think last year.
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
And also a divisional game. So there you go.
And Dallas's defense stinks. I think Caleb Williams, quarterback 10.
I'm buying that.
We're in on the rushing. I think is these quarterbacks who sneaked in at the top here, the rushing, except for shockingly, Daniel Jones has only 28 yards rushing on 13 attempts, but he does have 3 touchdowns. So
that sounds like Jalen Hurts numbers.
Yeah, a little bit, right? So yeah, okay. So the only player we agreed on that was out of the top 10 overall was Russell Wilson.
Mhm.
I think I'm most worried about out of those guys. You got to say Daniel Jones. You have to be worried about him. Jared Goff. You've got to be a little bit worried about him.
Yeah.
But ride it while you can.
Right away you can. And I think these are all, at least startable, besides Russell Wilson, startable QBs.
Mm-hmm.
Looking who's just outside of a top 10 that maybe we want to highlight.
So Jordan Love is 13. Jaden Daniels is 12.
Okay, yeah, Jaden Daniels will finish higher than that.
Jalen Hurts is they don't give me numbers next to these things right now, so I'm counting them myself. I think he's 19.
That will change.
That has to change. And Bo Nix is in the 20s.
That will change. Also, I really like Dak. I'm high on Dak. I know he's played he played one not so great defense, but I don't know. He looks healthy. He's passing the ball a lot. I think Dak. I think he finishes as a QB1.
Yeah, and I think Brock Purdy looked pretty good when he was in. So I think if he comes back sooner rather than later, he can also sneak up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll move on to running backs. I have a question here that I was gonna play. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. There's gonna be multiple parts. Okay. So first off, I answered that Flowers for me. If you're choosing between the two right now because of Lamar.
Really, Flowers or Evans rest of the season?
Yeah.
Evans is safer, I think.
Yeah. I think if you want to believe that there's 2 things. If Mark Andrews is fully dropped off, I'm in on Flowers.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I'm still picking Evans.
It's fair. So you gotta split. And then relief. Okay, that's it's not really. I don't see a question in there, so I'm gonna move on to the next part. Would you trade ETN for someone like Tyreek Hill? And these are all the same gentlemen, so if you can see that, if you can remember that. I wouldn't trade him for Tyreek straight off. I'm pretty low on Tyreek though.
I like ETN more than Tyreek, even with Bashal Toot in there. I feel like having a really great pass catching running back that produces or could produce on a good offense is much better than having Tyreek Hill.
You do have Henry, Cook, and Kyron ahead of him, and you also have Jordan Mason. Okay, so I see what's going on. So it's not that ETN is a bad trading piece, just in a wide receiver like Tyreek Hill. I think if you're in that range, it's not necessarily a bad idea, but I would look for someone that's not Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Someone that
'Cause
maybe someone would be willing to trade. Like honestly, Cortland Sutton could be
yeah,
up for grabs.
yeah, Cortland Sutton. Um,
Well, he already has Sutton.
yeah, who
Um,
I'm trying to remember who these wide receivers in this range were because it's like okay, so there's DK Metcalf. I'm on the wall with him because he seems like he's getting a little less usage than you would want. He doesn't look
yeah,
terrible, but it's just less usage than you'd hope for. Maybe like I don't know if after this week you could pull like Jamison Williams. That's not necessarily like my
I don't think. I mean, here's a wild take. Did you say at Addison? Maybe maybe try for Addison. I wouldn't actually do that yet, but never mind with JJ. Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Ted McMillan's getting traded. He
no,
was
I can't imagine that. Let's see, Ricky Pearsall maybe.
yeah, okay, I like that. Yeah.
If you believe that Keenan Allen can stay alive the whole season, he might actually be a good trade target because you could get him pretty easy. You might even be able to trade Jordan Mason off for him instead and keep ETN.
Oh yeah, I like that. I think someone would do that.
Yeah, so I would say you're in the right range. Just don't go for Tyreek.
Yeah.
Just trust me on this one. You don't want Tyreek on your team. It's not going to go well for you the whole season. That team is still a dumpster fire, even if they look like they're a little bit better this week.
Just think about the health of Tua and Tyreek in this offense's confidence during the fantasy playoffs, and then yeah,
Save on to ETN until he has one more good game, and then you'll be able to get in tier even higher.
there you go.
Running backs. So let's go on to the top 10 running backs. So James Cook's number 1 right now.
So it's very touchdown heavy. He has what is it?
He's got 3 rushing touchdowns, no receiving touchdowns yet.
Okay, only 3. It's hard not to buy into the Bills. He's not going to be RB1 for the rest of the season, but like, I mean, I had him last year and he was great, and it seems like he's the same player he was last year. So
I'm bought into it. Yeah. Keep James Cook if you got him.
Yeah.
Buy him if you can. Christian McCaffrey's number 2. If he's healthy, he's no questions. Javonte Williams is number 3. I'm not necessarily in on top 10 overall because I think at some point that will drop off a little bit. But he is going to be an important fantasy asset this whole season if he stays healthy. I think you could see him being in that like one, not like sorry, I'm sorry, like middle range RB2.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that he's an RB2 rest of the season. He's gotten some touchdowns. I mean, and I again, he's a fantasy value for sure, like one of the league winners. And I think that if we had been more clarity or just more, there was clarity, more confidence that Javonte was the guy. I was already really high on this Cowboys offense with Dak and CD and George. It makes sense that the running back is also going to have value, even if they're passing a lot. I was just really high in the offense, and I didn't like equate that to the running back position just because it looked really bad. But this is an incredible offensive line, and I mean, Javonte was just the guy they paid, and it wasn't a lot, but it makes sense.
He's looked pretty competent too, so
yeah.
I don't see him like remaining like as a blow up this high because it is so touchdown heavy at this moment. Like
I would sell high on him
if you can, yeah. I mean, like, and it's like appropriately high, which I'll think about some. Bijan Robinson number 4.
Nice,
chill, totally good. Devon Achane number 5. Again,
I'm
easy
in. Yeah,
peasy. Jonathan Taylor number 6.
I'm in.
And he looks so good, man.
So good.
Just
He looks like the Jonathan Taylor from a few years ago, and I think it's possible even with Daniel Jones there taking touchdowns, he could have like RB1 overall upside just because we've seen it before, and he looks like he used
to. Yeah, his pass catching, like it's not even that it's the volume of pass catching, it's just he breaks it when he breaks it. Chuba Hubbard is number, I believe, 8.
That surprised me.
Yeah, 8. That surprised me too because I haven't really heard a lot about Chuba, but he does have 2 receiving touchdowns and not a lot of yards, but 8 receptions, 71 yards, only 95 yards rushing.
Last week he had 10 carries, and then he got 6 targets. So I think that the value of the target share in his offense is maybe a little higher than maybe. I think his floor is a little safer than we thought because it looks like he's getting a good amount of targets, and that's impressive considering that you have all these wide receivers out there.
Yeah, if the Panthers are going to be behind, which they're going to be behind, that odd defense just isn't stopping anything. Then he's going to keep getting targets.
Yeah, I'll buy. I think that he's going to dip a little bit, but I think there's no reason to believe just because Rico Dowdle's there that he's going to be Chuba's going to be worse than he was last season. There was some injuries to the interior offensive line that worry me though. I think the center's out for the season, and I think Robert Hunt, the guard, is out.
So. Yeah, so the rushing's still going to be hard headway, but that's not what he's making his money on right now. He's 26 for 95 rushing. He doesn't have 100 yards on the season yet.
No.
Saquon 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if he's healthy, he's going to be amazing, and that offense is going to run all the time. So wonderful. Travis Etienne 9.
A little lower, but I mean, I think Bayshaw's going to be a factor, but I mean, Etienne's looking good.
Yeah, I think if we're talking season end, which we are right now, I think he will be lower. I think he's going to be good for at least the first half of the season, though. So it's like the second half near the end where I start seeing him dip. So if you're worried about him, that's when I would start getting ready to trade him off. Is like week 6, week 7. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, his value might go down. But it's hard to say. I would hold him for sure. I mean, we talked about trading him just a minute ago, but I think that he's returned and will continue to return value based on where he was drafted.
And number 10 is Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah,
easy. Just outside the top 10, we got Bucky Irving, Derrick Henry.
They're only going to go up, I think.
Then we've got an interesting one, I think, based on this last week, Jaylen Warren at 13.
I like where he's returning value based on where he's drafted. I think he's going to end as like a low end RB2, but which is better than we expected.
One thing I would like to point out is there's not one rookie on that list. So I think if you're going to see you're going to see like a surprise. If you're going to see a surprise show up halfway through the season and just blow up, it's going to be one of the rookies. But you go ahead and guess at this point because none of them have looked particularly amazing and they've all been behind the incumbent. Every single one of them. It's just
except for Genty.
Well, yeah, he falls into the hasn't looked particularly amazing, and I don't think it's his fault. Yeah, I'm not really mad at Genty. He looks like he's trying his heart out.
One player I do want to mention, also just outside the top 10, that I had around this range, and I feel like it's coming to fruition. What I said was Alvin Kamara, and he's getting the targets, and he's like RB 15 right now, I think. And I expect that to be in a similar range for him. I don't see him dipping below an RB2 just based on the amount of targets he gets.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his catches, he's got 8 already, but they're only for 33 yards. This is the PPR merchant, I think, where like he's gonna get his points. It might not always be pretty, but he's gonna get them.
Yep.
We'll move on to wide receivers. So wide receivers, they're fun. So number 1, Puka. Gosh, he looks so good.
He's so good. I'm keeping him the rest of the season. He's my pick.
I'm okay with that. Number 2, Malik Neighbors. He also looks so good. He's on a terrible team, but like he can be draped with 3 people on him, and it just makes a catch for no reason.
Doesn't matter.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is number 3. He's going to be in the top 10. I don't really have much of an issue with that. I think he'll dip a little bit because he's not going to score that many touchdowns in a single game.
Yeah, but again, we're seeing more red zone targets than we did 2 years ago. We saw an uptick in red zone targets last year, and now we're seeing that even continuing.
And if there's any doubt that it's just the scheme and not Amon-Ra is so good at getting those open places and placing his feet. Like he is a great receiver. So there's no issues here. The hard part with the Lions is just that there will be games where they're featuring other players.
Yeah, just because they have so many good players.
Yeah, and when they don't score 52 points, not everyone can score. So Rome Odunze, number 4.
So he has a bit touchdown inflation. I do want to point out he has 3 touchdowns already. I think he's the only passing touchdowns in the Bears offense. But having said that, like he is the clear wide receiver 1 here in terms of not just chemistry, but just how he's schemed. And he has 9 targets last week. He's running 2 touchdowns across 33 routes. Like we really wanted that Caleb Rome connection last year when they were both taken to the top 10. We didn't see it, but it looks like it's there this year. It just is. Even when the offense has been dysfunctional, he's looking to Rome in the end zone. He's targeting Rome the highest of any player on this team. DJ Moore isn't like a far behind wide receiver 2, but I don't know. Having said all that, I don't think Rome is going to finish as a wide receiver 1 necessarily, but I don't see him dropping outside of like the top 20, most likely top 15.
He'll retain value.
Yeah, he'll retain value.
Not a full mirage.
No.
Number 5 is Zay Flowers, and we did just talk about this a little bit too. Um, I agree with you that I think Zay Flowers is going to have disappearing act games, but I also wonder if this is kind of he's year 3, right? So
It's the breakout year.
he has looked good in the past, and I'm not saying that this could be it, but if Mark Andrews, their touchdown machine, drops off, I don't. They're gonna need someone who gets to move it around. And it's not like Zay Flowers is a touchdown machine, but he's already caught one. You know.
I mean, you could argue maybe not the same type of player, but I mean, D Hop's been a touchdown machine so far too.
Yeah, but I don't trust D Hop to stay healthy for my life. Honestly,
Fair.
there's no way. Like he looks great. I'm not
What
hating
was
on D Hop. He looks
what was
great.
what was that player Tez Walker who was like a 4th-round pick last year? He's like 2 receptions are in both their touchdowns.
Yeah, and
For
they
2
look
years.
good too.
Like what? I don't trust him, but like 2 receptions and both been touchdowns is crazy.
That just speaks to me about like Lamar is locked in right now. Lamar's just on one.
And he wants to prove a point that I mean he lost MVP last year. And I mean Allen was great. I think Lamar should have won MVP, and I think he wants to put the final nail in the coffin that he is a rushing quarterback only. He wants to pass the ball more, and I think that's clear. I'm not as super high on Zay Flowers still. I don't personally don't think he's going to finish as a wide receiver 1, but he is returning value, so we can say that.
Jamar Chase, number 6. That's easy.
Yeah.
Even with Browning, like maybe 5 or 6 is where he lands, but you don't worry about it. Like you're fine.
Yeah.
Number 7 is Quentin Johnson.
It's just a hard one for me. I mean, he had 7 targets. He's a red zone threat, 100%. I mean, he's a yards after catch threat for sure. His hands are a lot better. It's just he's gonna drop. I mean, that's my first instinct. And you got Keenan Allen, you got Ladd, you got the run game still there. I think he's just a great sell high candidate right now. I mean, I don't know.
I think I agree with you that he's going to drop, and I like Quentin Johnson for the wow factor, because when he hits those big plays, that offense just jumps off of me. You saw it against the Raiders, like they were looking okay, but then they hit that big play and like it just opened the game up for them.
Yeah.
And the one other part though is that eventually defenses are going to key in on that. Like they haven't been because they haven't needed to. They're going to need to, and that's when you might see Ladd McConkey start like just chipping away, and then the thing isn't that Quentin Johnson's going to be like a bad play necessarily. It's just he won't have those explosive plays, and he'll drop down a little bit. It reminds me so much of Mike Williams when he was clicking.
He does kind of have that role in some senses.
Mike Williams did more contested catches, but it's like this is a guy they're going to use, and he's going to have good games, but he's also going to have games where he's just not needed or not involved because he's actually covered well, and he opens up the rest of the team.
Exactly. And yeah, I think Quentin, he's going to have some disappearing act games. I mean, we saw it last year. He looks better than last year, but he's not going to score 2 touchdowns and have multiple deep bombs every single week.
Keep doing it, but man, he did look good. This has been a fun start.
Good for him turning. Like he had that bust label so hard on him after year
very
1.
Quickly too. Like so it is good that he stuck with it, and the Chargers didn't like fall for that at all.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Deebo Samuel. I think he's gonna fall off, but not out of range where he's gonna be a good asset. He looks like a great asset for that team. But we also haven't seen Terry McLaurin start clicking yet, and with Terry, he missed all of camp. It makes sense that he's not clicking. He will start clicking, and they'll balance each other out. So
I think so. I think Deebo finished as a wide receiver too, and I still don't trust his health. I know he looks better. I just don't. I don't.
He's not playing for San Francisco though, and I think that's got to account for something.
That is totally fair.
That he got out of there. He did go to like the worst other field, FedEx Field, but Wan'Dale Robinson is number 9, and I'm laughing because that's awesome. Good for you, Wan'Dale. You're catching passes that are further down the field than ever before, and you look good. You look great.
I think I said this in an earlier episode, but Wan'Dale Robinson is like the lab-built definition best ball wide receiver that you want on your team, because he has those weeks where he's such a good down the field threat. I think he's completely erased Jalen Hyatt in that regard. I don't even know where's Jalen Hyatt. I don't even know. But yeah. But Wan'Dale, like he's still youngish. I think he's like a year 4 guy, and maybe year 5. But like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like he's just a quintessential boomer bust player, and he's going to have more busts than boom. So this is not going to last. But best ball man, like,
yeah, I'm in on it. I'm not in on him as a wide receiver 1. I think he'll settle down to a wide receiver 3, and it's not him.
no,
That Giants offense is not going to support 2 wide receivers 1. There's just not a chance.
I do want to add too that he is also like, it's not just that he has the boom plays. He is getting a lot of targets, and that's worth noting. Again, it's the offense. It's not good enough to sustain him in the league. He's not catching all the targets. They're not catchable targets every time. He is involved. He's the wide receiver 2, not in fantasy.
Yeah. Good in best ball, also good as a flex. He's a good asset on your team. I just, don't overrate what you're going to get from him. Do not expect 20. Expect like 8.
Yeah.
Like 10.
Yeah, good flex. I like him. Have him on your team.
Okay, so we're on number 10 now, and it's CeeDee Lamb. So
he looked great. Those drops week 1 is really the only thing that's hurt him. If he caught those passes and gotten at least 1 for a touchdown, he'd be in the top 4.
That's exactly it. He's missing the touchdowns. If he had even 1 touchdown, he would already be in the top 10. He'd probably be top 5 already.
And he will score a touchdown against the Bears.
I mean, shoot. Right outside the top 10, we're speaking of JSN, and he's gonna score touchdowns eventually too. So
he's legit. I regret. I mean, I don't regret, but I was wrong.
I absolutely regret it personally because I was like, that's a player a lot where I'm just down on for no real reason. Like there's no reason, and that's when like, okay, they're gonna be good because you don't have a good.
You don't have a good enough. Yeah.
Keenan Allen is number 12. Fun.
I like him rest of the season more than Quentin Johnston. I mean, maybe the health thing, the age thing, but Keenan is just.
He just came
so good.
Yeah, he just came back and looked like Keenan on the Chargers. You know what I mean? Like it didn't even miss a step. Like him and Herbert have done this together, and it showed immediately. So there's no reason to worry about him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Devontae Adams is top 20. I'm not going to count it out. So he's not far off, and again, he'll get the touchdowns.
He's gonna go. He's gonna go up.
And Hunter Renfrow is 25. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to mention him. It's for this.
I do want to point out just ahead of him at 24 is Tet McMillan, and the fact that Tet, as a rookie on a really bad offense, is already this high with no touchdowns yet. That speaks to his talent, I think.
I'm sorry. He was 24 and 23.
Okay. He's a wide receiver too. Perfect.
Yep. Yeah. And other than that, I'm not going to dig too hard. There's a ton of wide receivers. We are missing Nico Collins. That's the one name you're going to want to look out for. We are missing Brian Thomas Jr. and we are missing AJ Brown, Ladd McConkey.
There's maybe some misses in there. They're just guys that haven't looked very good. The one player I want to mention real quick, and just because we've not talked about him whatsoever, and it's Michael Pittman.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 sides to this. I just want to say that last year he was injured, and we didn't really take that into consideration. He had a bad year last year, but he was playing injured. He only had 4 receptions, I think, this past game, and Daniel Jones spreads the ball a lot. I don't really like any of the pass catchers in Indianapolis right now besides Tyler Warren. And I think Josh Downs is still the guy over Pittman. I think that Pittman getting that touchdown and some long yard catches has inflated him. So I wanted to mention him because we haven't really talked about him at all. And so far he's the Colts leading fantasy guy, not named Jonathan Taylor. I don't think that's going to continue. We'll see.
He looks good though.
He does. He looks like he's playing healthy again.
Yeah. Here's the deal. So wide receiver 1 right now only has 50 fantasy points. Wide receiver 10 in CeeDee Lamb has 38.2. So here's the deal. Any of what we said is just one good game away from changing. Like someone could drop a 40-point game who's not even on this list, and they're immediately top 10.
Yeah, 100%.
So these are good pieces, but just remember, wide receiver, in my opinion, is the most volatile because you can have those just explosive, huge games, and you can have someone just disappear for 1 week.
Because you have the potential to just running backs. Even if you're elite, it's going to be hard to go 60 yards down the field. If you're a good receiver, you can catch a 60-yard pass and just get those points much easier.
Quentin Johnston.
I think that I do like that we're talking about this though, because even if it's week 2, people get excited and you look at the top players and you you maybe overthink things or get too excited. So it really is important to just kind of look at it and then just extrapolate what it looks like
Mhm,
rest of the season.
mhm.
Because I mean, again, there's that closeness, but like it's top 10, it's like it's exciting, you know.
It's very exciting. And don't panic on the players that are outside of the top 10
Oh yeah.
because I mean, again, we like Brian Thomas Jr. He's looked bad, so everyone's panicking on him. He is a good player to go get if you can,
Hmm.
because he had the targets, and if he catches one of those touchdowns, it's just a different conversation immediately. No one's worried about how tough he is or like if him and Trevor Lawrence get along.
Yeah.
It was just one catch away.
Yep.
So we'll move on to tight ends. So our top 10 tight ends. This is just such an enjoyable list because we get to talk about some new names that just Tucker Kraft is number one and he's looked great.
I'd
I'm
buy
in on
it.
him easy.
Yep.
If you can get him, I don't think you can, but if you can, go get him.
He's
If you
gonna make
have
the
him,
Pro Bowl this year.
yeah. He's like the wide receiver one almost on the Packers.
I think he is. I mean, he's not as definitely not like the Mahomes and Kelsey level, but I think Love is treating Kraft like his Kelsey in the sense that he's his number one guy. And
Which, goodness gracious, like I this is gonna sound really salty, but for the Packers, I always want them to fail because of how awful their offense is for fantasy purposes.
that's one reason.
Yeah, well, it's the only reason I don't really hate the Packers. It's just like you can't have this offense that completely doesn't work for fantasy that's so high powered. It's just awful.
Yeah.
But Tucker Kraft is proving that it does work for fantasy in some way. Like there you go. There's the guy.
I think that even if Tucker Kraft was a receiver, I trust him, and that's how
Mhm.
high I am on his and how high I am in on him as a tight end.
I did enjoy the commentators in the last game. I can't remember the exact time when they said it, but one of them was talking. He's like, "Now Tucker Kraft, that is a good looking tight end," and just stop the sentence. There's nothing else past it.
Great analysis.
Yeah, I was like, perfect. You know what? I guess you're right. Number 2 is Juwan Johnson of the New Orleans Saints. I have a hard time saying that I don't see him for real because he's got 20 targets and like both games he had a bunch of targets. He's getting target and Kellen Moore does like tight ends, so
At this point, I have no reason to say there's going to be a fall off because like who's going to step up and take his place? Who's going to take his targets?
it's gonna be the it would have to be Olave, right?
But Olave's still getting the targets. He's doing all right.
Shaheed caught a touchdown from the that's the but like you're right, exactly. There's no one there, like no one plays that role that Juwan plays. He's
Here's the thing though, and I don't know if they're going to start doing this unless Rattler looks bad, but Rattler is passing the ball so many times per game and they seem content with it. Like they haven't won yet, but he's passing like 40 plus times a game. Like why? I mean, he doesn't
I
look bad.
think I
It's
think
just
Kellen Moore literally just has to see what he has. Like this
that's
is
fair.
that long leash. Like we got to just test this kid out. If he's the guy, he's the guy. But if he's not, we need to know. So keep throwing that ball. See what you can do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is great if you do have Juwan Johnson.
I would. I mean, I don't think. I don't know. I would trade Jawan Johnson for like somebody maybe.
And maybe like number 3 on this list, Zach Ertz.
That's kind of a 2-for-1. I think. I don't know. Ertz is the same guy he was last year, and he finished as like tight end 6 last year. So
Yeah, this is what I was saying about Zach Ertz is that you don't want him, but like if he's in there, you gotta play him. He gets points. Like Jaden Daniels looks his way.
yeah.
He already has 2 touchdowns. He'll get more. Jaden Daniels is out now, so maybe this is the time where it's going to really sink him a little bit. But if Jaden Daniels is passing, he likes passing to his tight ends. It just happens in the end zone. So
I don't hate Ertz. Yeah, I don't think he's going to drop too much. He's going to get those targets.
Tyler Warren is number 4.
I'm buying that.
Yeah, I just got the most terrifying news I ever saw is that he didn't practice because of a toe injury. Hopefully it's just Wednesday.
Yeah, I didn't need to hear that.
No, I didn't need to hear that either. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, no, what is this Q next to his name? Because Tyler Warren looks great. He looks like he is the focal point of the Colts offense, but that's not Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, he just looks so good as a rookie. He just came in and it's like he doesn't look like a rookie at all. He looks like he's been here the whole time. 93% snap share.
Yeah, he's that's just crazy. Out. He's out there on the field all the time, and they are passing it to him when he's open. It really does. Like, and this is such a lazy analysis before season, but we went for it, and it's been true, which is the crazy part. He just looks like Brock Bowers last year. They're just like anytime he's open, toss it to him and let him see what he does.
And he does.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't scored a touchdown yet either.
No.
I think he's one of a few players in this top 12 that hasn't scored a touchdown yet.
Yeah, well, I'll give you the next one, which is no surprise he hasn't scored a touchdown. Number 5 is Trey McBride.
I I'm of the belief that Kyler Murray is holding Trey McBride back. Not that Kyler's bad, he just doesn't. He's not as good as McBride's skill. I think McBride is legit like top 3 in the league. He's just such a good tight end.
I don't think you could really say anything bad about McBride yet. I don't. He's super consistent. He's getting the targets. He did get tackled inside the 5-yard line like twice that I've seen, and it's like, come on, we need to convert one of those so you can break your curse. You have to.
That's fair. He's gonna get the touchdowns. He is. He doesn't. He's also not like going nuclear yet. He's just been so consistent. Like he doesn't have dud weeks ever. At least I had him last year. He didn't.
No, and both the weeks look the exact same from what I remember. It was like the exact same targets, the exact same catches, which consistency at the tight end spot, especially consistency that's over 10 points,
It's
you're
rare.
happy. You are happy. Brock Bowers, number 6. Brock Bowers, I have no reason to see why he wouldn't stay there or be higher than there because he played the last game injured, and I think it did hurt his mobility a little bit.
Also, like I don't think Geno Smith's gonna have a worse game than he did last week.
He better not. He better not, man. If he has a worse game than that, shoot him to the moon. But you can't because then you have Kenny Pickett. Oh goodness. Jake Ferguson is number 7.
Jake Ferguson had 12 targets last game. Again, it was overtime, so that's a little skewed. But hey, I mean, damn.
Jake Ferguson is also one of these players that doesn't have a touchdown yet, and he had a few different opportunities where it hit him in the hands. I'm not calling him a drop because he also got hit really hard both times I saw it. So it's more of like a good defensive play than a full on drop. I err on the side of leniency here, but
he's become the player that I expected him to be last season,
Mhm.
which is good. I think I'm high on him.
Okay, so number 8, and I apologize for the pauses. I'm just counting every single time. Is Harold Fannin Jr.
I like him. But I like his long-term potential. I don't think this is sustainable in this offense.
Yeah, I don't either because I think that right now Njoku's still too involved. And it can't always just be the tight ends that are getting the play when you have Judy and Tillman.
If this was a better offense, I think that they could coexist, but it's not.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know how some of these players ended up getting points when they went against the Ravens and got just to dominate it. You know?
Yeah, I mean okay, so Harold Fannin, I'll give him some respect. He still had five targets, but he had 9 fantasy points, which against the Ravens in that offense isn't terrible.
Yeah, I mean they all mid it off, but like it's still okay against the Ravens.
Yeah.
9 is Travis Kelce. I actually don't feel like he finishes that high. He's looked pretty not good to me.
And especially, I mean, he's the guy. If this was 3 years ago, like he would be like getting 20 points a game, 25 points a game, if not more, with the fact that the other 2 top targets are out. Like it's 6 targets, 4 receptions. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
I'm not feeling it.
If he's not doing it now, when is he going to do it?
Yeah, and he really just hasn't looked invested. And I know that doesn't usually matter, but this team gets so much. Like this guy, he's a superstar regardless of whether or not he's on the field, right? So like he doesn't need to be invested. So this is a level of like motivation. How much does it mean to him? And it really looks like he is not that interested. He pretends to be by yelling at people, but when he's actually playing the game, he's not paying attention.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just such a weird. He just has the opportunity. Maybe he just doesn't really care anymore. He's a billionaire now.
You're a billionaire. You've got 3 Super Bowl rings. Like, who cares? Yeah. Like another one would be nice, but if I don't get it, whatever.
You're already in the Hall of Fame. So
yeah. 10 is Dalton Kincaid, and I don't see that.
If he didn't have a touchdown, I'd say maybe, but I think his numbers are inflated because of that.
Outside the top 10, you got 11 Kyle Pitts. He has potential here. He's looked better.
I'm unfortunately, at least the very least, based on where he was drafted, I'm buying it. I think he's gonna be better this year than he has in a couple of years at least. I don't know. I mean, Darnell Mooney came back, and again, it was coming back from injury, but he didn't look great.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts has looked better. He's had some pretty nice catches, and like he's actually tried to like push people down and use his size a little bit more. So I like to see that, because if he can, then there's no reason why he can't be a good fantasy tight end. It's just always been, this offense is either getting him involved or good enough, or he's lazy running routes or hurt.
You're really, if you're betting on him, you're betting on Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm. Sam Laporta is 12. Laporta's hard for me because it's one of these weeks. It's going to be his game, and he's going to be in the top 10.
Yeah, easy. I mean, like he could score like just a touchdown next week and be a top 4 tight end overall. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard. It's hard to say. This is the case of so many tight ends. Like besides Trey McBride and why am I blanking on his name?
Bowers.
Except besides McBride and Bowers, and honestly, it's looking at Tyler Warren. Like you're gonna have disappearing weeks as a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And Laporta is just another example of that. But if he's your tight end, great. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't trip on it. You're not going to upgrade in any significant way. I mean, like if his name had been Brock Wright, you're happy. It just fell that way.
I'm looking here. I don't see really a single other player that I'm excited about that's a tight end, and George Kittle will come back. He's going to be good.
I liked what I saw last week of Jatavian Sanders. I'll just say that. Like he actually looked pretty good and was getting a lot of targets once the Panthers were in comeback mode.
He had 9 targets. Wow.
And he looked good on them. Like he didn't dominate, but like it was the Panthers, like no one was really dominating. He was the only consistent chain mover for the first half for them. And then after that, everyone got involved and they started making their comeback, and Hunter Renfrow, the best player ever, caught 2 touchdowns.
Would have been his. I did say a couple months ago that watch out for Sanders is a sneaky breakout.
Mm-hmm. And I'm buying it. I still think I don't see top end like top 5 potential here, but I could see like a 6, 7, 8 if he stays consistent and he keeps getting a lot of targets throughout the weeks.
Yeah, and then Bryce Young just gets a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit. Okay, I have one more question, then we're gonna go into our starts of the week, our nuclear boys, gut checks, etc. And we talked about them a little bit, so we'll run through those pretty fast. Garrett Wilson or Travis Etienne. This is just in a super vacuum. Travis for me right now.
Just because we don't know what Tyrod Taylor is going to look like against the Bucs. Yeah,
exactly. If you're talking about next week, I can't throw Garrett Wilson in this team with Tyrod Taylor. It just looked so bad last week.
Yeah.
Of course, like Garrett's still going to be a guy over certain people, but like over Travis, no. Throw Travis in there. Okay, so let us do it. Willie, I'm going to have you start off because I'm pulling up my list unless you need a second here. But go ahead and start with your nuclear boys.
So my first nuclear boy is a guy that I regrettably benched this last week because I thought week 1 was a touchdown inflated mirage. And I just really don't think it was. And I say this after he scored 2 more touchdowns. He's not going to do that every week. But it's Rome Odunze. And specifically, it's Rome Odunze going up against the Cowboys defense. And their pass defense that doesn't have Trayvon Diggs back yet. It doesn't have Siobhan Revels starting yet, and it doesn't have Deron Bland yet back, I don't think either. And this is a team it's going to be a close game. I think the Bears are like -1 on the spread favorites. So it's going to be a close game. They're going to be passing a lot. It's just, I think his floor is incredibly safe. And I think he also has the absolute upside to go nuclear as well. Like he could, even if he doesn't score a touchdown, he could still get like 100 yards easy.
Yep. Yeah, I can see that. I love that pick. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. My first nuclear boy is Nico Collins, and I'm bringing him up here because you might be a little bit down. You might be a little bit worried about Nico after these first 2 weeks. They go against the Jaguars this week, and we saw what the Jaguars let Jamar Chase do to them. And the Bengals are a better team than the Texans, but they have a lot of similar issues. Mm-hmm. Nico Collins can come out and finally have that statement game saying, "Hey, I belong here right now," and I would believe this is the time it's going to happen.
It's a good week to do it. Yeah, mm-hmm. I agree. My second nuclear boy, I need to. Oh, it's the Saints they're playing. Let me see. Are the Seahawks playing the Saints?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, yeah, it's JSN. I mean, I just think that JSN. Even we saw him go nuclear week 1 against the Steelers. The Saints pass defense did limit Marvin Harrison Jr. last week a bit, but I think that's more of a Marvin Harrison. Joey, no, was it? Man, I'm getting all turned around. Who did the Saints play? Oh, the Niners. Okay, so we did see the Niners maybe limited Pearsall and Jennings a little bit, but not really. Jennings had a good game, and then the Saints pass defense versus the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a good game then. All that to say, like JSN has already proven that he's incredible. I think that this maybe will be maybe a closer game than we expect, and I think both teams are going to be passing a lot. And I think that JSN is just going to get a ton of targets like he does, and he has the ability to get that explosive play. And I think this week more than others.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with another one that everyone who has should be starting anyways, but you should be really excited about it. My second nuclear boy is Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. They are going against the Titans this week. This isn't even necessarily based on the Titans defense this year. I'm going to say Jonathan Taylor is just really great against the Colts. Oh my gosh, really great against the Titans. It's that time of night. So you Jonathan Taylor's going to blow up. He's going to have another great game.
Yeah.
There's just no question for me here. You want Jonathan Taylor and you're going to love him. You should.
If the Colts get up, which I think they will, there's no reason not to just keep running Taylor over and over and over and over again.
And yeah, it's just gonna be awesome. So that's my second. So let's move on to our second category here, and this is our gut check starts. This is the players that you might be a little bit more concerned about. Willie, take us off.
Opposite of Taylor, I'm going to go with Tony Pollard. I think he's due for a touchdown. I think he's due for a quote unquote breakout game. I think he wants to prove they wanted to see what they got before Tajay Spears comes back to see if he's that kind of workhorse. He's getting 89% of the snaps, which is the highest for any running back in the NFL. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Maybe I need to fact check that, but he's up top 3. The Colts defense looks legit, but the Broncos run game wasn't terrible against the Colts last week. We still saw J.K. Dobbins do decently well. And again, the Dolphins looked abysmal week 1, but Echan, he looked good. So I think that maybe the weakest link, we don't know for sure, but I think maybe the weakest link of the Colts defense is their run defense. And I think that Tony Pollard has 100% the opportunity. Even if the Titans are going to be down in this game, I don't think they're going to be as down as they were in their past 2 games. I think that the Colts are an easier opponent to play than the Rams. So they're going to be running more than they have.
Totally. I can buy that. My gut check, and this is only really a gut check because it was after the week he had last week, is Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos. I like Courtland a lot in this matchup, and it's not just because I like Courtland in this matchup. It's because they're going against the Chargers. That's a divisional matchup, and what we've seen from the Chargers so far is that they stifle run games completely. But the wide receiver ones on the team are just PPR hogs. We saw Hollywood Brown just catch a ton, and then we also saw Jacoby Myers catch a ton last week.
So much.
So I don't see much changing there, and I think the Broncos will be happy if it's just Courtland Sutton catching a ton. They'll have a fantastic go of it. So I think that this is going to be a pass funnel to the wide receiver one. That's Courtland Sutton.
Yeah,
send him in. Be happy.
I'm not worried about him this week like I was last week. My second gut check. I have a little just quick bonus gut check after this too, but my second gut check is Isaiah Pacheco. I think that he is lacking that explosiveness that we saw before his injury last year. But going up against the Giants, the Chiefs need to get to 1-2, and they're going to be up. They're going to try their best to be up, and I think that he's going to get an opportunity to run the ball a lot. I have more faith in him over Kareem Hunt. I also think he's due for a touchdown. I think that they're going to try and work out some kinks in this offense and maybe at least try against an easier opponent to rely on the run game more. And I think Pacheco is going to benefit.
It would be the funniest thing in the world if the Giants came out and won this game.
I mean, they're both 0-2, so they both have incentive. I don't know. I would love that.
It would be so great. It's just so great.
This next one is not a gut check, but this is a prediction. I'm going to bet that either Jake Browning or Carson Wentz is going to have 30+ fantasy points this week. I don't know which one, but one of them is, and they're playing Jeff. So
I'm in on Jake Browning. I actually so in one of my leagues I had Burrow as my starter and I had Fields as my backup, so that was great. Fun 1-2 punch. I had a few different options and I decided to go with Browning. Just Browning, he's not necessarily great, but he's got such a great supporting cast that it almost doesn't matter. Like you get Jamar Chase the ball a bunch of times, you see it. You score well in fantasy.
I think that I think that with Browning, I think that if you have Joe Burrow and you don't have a better quarterback, pick up Browning. He's not going to be as high a ceiling as Burrow, but he's going to get you, I don't know, like 3/4 of the points that Burrow would have maybe with his offense.
You
Yeah.
still get the keys to that offense, right?
Yeah.
And that's really we've talked about. Like the offense is the selling point of the Bengals. Their defense stinks. It's the offense is going to have to keep throwing, and Jake Browning will keep throwing no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
So I love that. My second gut check here is DJ Moore. So we talked about him a little bit. We're talking about Bears Cowboys. The Bears and the Cowboys game is going to end up being a shootout because the Cowboys can't stop anything, and the Bears at this point aren't looking great on that end either. Odunze has come out and taken the offense by storm, but I don't think DJ Moore is overly happy about that. We know how he gets, and I think this is a wonderful game to be like, hey, no one can cover anyone. Why don't you go run out there? We're gonna get you some touchdowns. Let's go. Let's get you started. Let's get you really kicked in on this offense. I love DJ Moore this week.
I do too. I almost put him for this part, and I think that we already saw Ben Johnson scheme up a bit in the run game as well. And so, like week 1, we relied a lot on DeAndre Swift. Week 2, we switched it up, had a lot more carries for Kyle Monangai, and then maybe week 3 is the week that we get DJ Moore involved more than we expect. So,
I wish Monangai would get more carries. I just want to see it some more.
I just don't want Swift.
He just looks so mid. Controversial sits. Take this away.
My first one, and this is a guy that I could possibly eat my words on. And once again, I'm looking up who they're playing because I don't remember. It's a guy that did really well this past week on my bench, and it's up against a run defense that hasn't looked great. But I would not get too excited about Ramondre Stevenson this week. I'm not saying start Henderson over him or anything, but I don't know. I think that Stevenson is going to be a player that is consistent in this game, but I think that the Steelers are going to want to come out and play the Patriots hard. And I think that the Patriots are going to need to rely a little bit more on their pass than their run game this week. And I don't think Stevenson's going to be great. I think he could put up 8 points easily, but he's not going to put up a 20 he did last week. So I would sit him. There's better options that you have than Stevenson.
I think Stevenson had like a career week last week. Of course, if you're a Travion Henderson owner, it kind of hurts, but he just was so good last week.
He was, yeah.
My first one is Breece Hall. This might not be a shock. So Breece Hall, then the Jets go against the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have looked okay against the run, pretty good. I mean, okay to good, just depends.
Yeah.
And the Jets have lost Fields. I don't have a lot of faith in them at this point with Tyrod Taylor back there. Your only chance for Breece Hall, in my opinion, to have a really good fantasy week is for him to bust a long run. And I don't see it. I just don't see it.
He's one of the most hard to predict rest of season players for me. I don't know.
I don't think I'm out on him forever, right? It's just this Buccaneers team actually has a good run defense, and they seem like to have a pretty porous pass defense at times. So if the Jets are going to win, it's going to be Tyrod Taylor throwing the ball, which is gross. You don't really want that to be the way you win. So I don't expect the Jets to do very well in this game at all, which also hampers the run game. Breece Hall could, in theory, catch a lot of dump-off passes from Tyrod, but I also see Tyrod running those.
Yeah, we don't know that, so that's the thing.
So I'm out on Breece Hall this week, and so that'll be 2 weeks in a row. That stinks if you're the Breece Hall owner, but sit him.
I think my controversial sit. This is one that maybe you don't necessarily have to sit, but I would just definitely temper your expectations, and that's Jacoby Cross-Merritt. I think that we saw the Raiders' run defense has been pretty legit. They stifled the run against the Patriots week 1. They stifled the Chargers last week. And we don't really know the makeup of this offense without Austin Eckler here and without Jaden Daniels here. So I think Mariota could be a serviceable game manager, but there's a lot of unknowns with these injuries. And I think there's better players than Bill to play this week. And also he put up less than 2 points last week. So just consider that.
My last player here for controversial sits is DK Metcalf of the Steelers. So they're going against the Patriots. The Patriots have Christian Gonzalez. He hasn't been particularly good last week. I do believe he sat out the first week. He's coming back from injuries last week. I wouldn't put too much stock into that. If he is shadowing DK Metcalf, that's going to be the best part of the defense, and it's going to be against DK. And DK is not someone who I see beating coverage a ton.
No.
And Aaron Rodgers seems pretty happy to just throw to whoever's not getting shadowed, as we saw with Calvin Austin the first week. So I expect DK Metcalf to have a pretty rough week.
His touchdown last week was kind of fluky too.
Yeah, he had to get it because they were going against the Seahawks. It would have looked
Yeah.
really bad otherwise. I DK is a hard player for me rest of the season right now because I could see him still building up steam, and he is paid to be the one, so he's not going to get uninvolved in this offense. But he's not. He doesn't seem to be like winning his routes.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
So what are you going to do? This particular week, Christian Gonzalez, I think he is going to want to play well, come back from it, and Christian Gonzalez is a great player. So
I think he matches up well against DK too.
mhm.
Also, I do want to mention just one guy real quick, and just real quick, I think that the Browns Packers game is going to be, and it's always unexpected. It's the highest scoring, but I think the Browns Packers is going to be such a low scoring game that Jordan Love's ceiling is definitely capped this week.
Yeah.
I still think the Browns defense is legit.
The Browns defense does seem to be very legit, but can they score against the Packers offense? And I would say, can they score against the Packers defense? And I would say the answer is no. I don't see it.
No,
That Packers defense is going to be too good.
But that's all the more reason to run the ball. And again, the Browns' run defense is good. I don't know. I think this is going to be a very defensive game. So if you have like Jordan Love and like Drake May on your team, start Drake May. That's kind of more of my philosophy here.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all. Okay, sick. So those are our starts. We'll check back in, see how they went next week. Check us out. Wednesday nights we do this live. Thursdays it's released on podcast channels. If you're listening on there, we'll be back next week. We are also doing an extra podcast. I don't know, have the exact date on that. We'll be covering the movie Him, because why not? It's a great horror movie. I have a second podcast where we do movie reviews. So Willie's going to join me and we're going to cover Him. So
I'm excited. It's Jordan Peele produced. The trailers look weird and exciting and good. And I like to yap about sports, and I also like to yap about movies. So sport movies, it's going to be a lot of yapping.
It's a good crossover. Yeah, it's a ton of yapping. We'll get there. So check us out. Until then,